Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Fireside Creators. I am your host, Reverend Dr. Sherry Palace. For this week's show, I am sitting down with Sara Cunningham from Free Mom Hugs, and we are chatting about all the fantastic work she is doing. You guys, if you watched last week, you saw me reference Kathy Baldock as a boss bitch. Sarah's one of them, and they're both doing it with love, which makes them the boss. So I can't wait to talk to her again and talk about all the wonderful things she's doing. Please remember to keep all comments and questions related to the show topic and that this is a safe space. Thank you for joining us, and I'm looking forward to all of your comments and questions. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe. If you're on Facebook, grant StreamYard access so we can see your name when you have a comment or a question. Thank you in advance, and thank you for welcoming us into your home and joining this conversation. I appreciate you. Okay, let's meet our guest and get smarter. Sara Cunningham is the founder of Free Mom Hugs. Her journey began when her son, Parker, came out as gay. As a woman of faith, she found herself on a journey from the church to the Pride Parade, and from that experience, Free Moms Hugs began. Sara has been featured on the Today Show, the GLAAD Awards, Washington Post, and People magazine. Jamie Lee Curtis purchased the rights to her book, How We Sleep at Night, and will release a movie based on her story. Dr. Darisha Key, I think is the way you pronounce it. Sorry, Sara. Features Sara, the Free Mom Hugs movement, in a documentary called Mama Bears. So I started crying like within the first minute of Mama Bears. It's a great movie. So let's welcome Sara Cunningham. Hi, Sara.
Hello. I have been looking forward to this since I saw you. Was that a month ago or 2 months ago?
Was it already that long ago?
Blur. It's a blur.
I think it was in December. So yeah. It seems like yesterday for me because, again, I've been busy too. But yeah, it was so great seeing you there and getting to hug you and watch the 1946 movie. Yes. Ed was on last week. So we were talking about it.
I wanted to join. I'm sorry I didn't, but I know it was a great conversation.
It was great. You know, all of the stuff coming out right now is just so fabulous that it's rewriting everything to more of a factual, love-based doctrine. So I'm always for that. I say rip anything that has hate or judgment or anything out of it and keep the love. And you're doing that too. So for people who don't know, I'm sure everybody knows who you are, but let's start with the backstory. Give us a little more on with Parker and what actually started you on this whole journey.
Thank you. If you're not familiar, the synopsis is, I have 2 children. We live in Oklahoma. My youngest son tried to come out to me his entire life. I didn't take the news well. I behaved badly. And it was a process that took us, like you read in our bio, that took us literally from the church to the Pride Parade without losing my faith, without losing my son. And to meet this beautiful spirit-filled community, to get educated on the things like the history of human sexuality, science and evidence, all the things that convinced me beyond a shadow of a doubt that being gay is not a sin, that being gay is a gift to this world, to our families, from God. And so the celebrating the community is by doing things that I wish someone would have done when I was trying to figure this out. I didn't know where to look for resources. So that, and now my son and I, we have a relationship. We see each other at least once a week. And now we have, I went to a Pride festival with a homemade button. And with anyone who made eye contact with me, I offered a hug. And from that experience is how we started Free Mom Hugs.
It's so beautiful. And Parker is such an amazing human.
He is. You need to have him well.
And I just want to interject that homosexuality is a sin like being left-handed is a sin. We've had all of these generations of humans dictating what is right and what is wrong and what is socially unacceptable and what is acceptable. And usually with the church, you usually tend to be more prudish and more exclusive as opposed to inclusive. But for like 1,000 years, being left-handed was a huge sin. So,
Mhm.
or being born with any abnormality or deformity or anything like that. So,
Right.
as we know better, we do better. And
Yes.
this, I'm just going to say it how I feel. This bullshit about homosexuality being bad. I mean, people with black skin were labeled as born into sin. So we must keep evolving and we must keep going back to the love. And that's why I call you a boss bitch, because you are. You really are. You're really fighting for that love. And I really think that's what Jesus would have done.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It is, you mentioned Kathy, and Kathy says about our relationship, she says, I kick him in the ass and Sara hugs him.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. But even Kathy is fighting for love, right?
Mhm.
I mean,
Aren't we all? We all are.
well, I hope so, right? I mean, the problem is that the church isn't. So
Mm.
that's where we get involved and say, okay, these are humans and they're wrong. This is what we're supposed to do. If we're truly following Jesus, we should embrace everybody. So I'm so glad that your story has that evolution where you went from really struggling because of what the church had told you to nothing else mattered than the love of your son.
Yeah, yeah. And Kathy also says that we have been duped, and I
Yeah,
really can't think
totally.
of a better word. But I would like to add just a thought process that I went through. When Parker came out, we belonged to a church for 20 years,
Yeah.
and I helped with the women's study. I had helped with funerals and weddings and with the youth for 20 years. And then
Wow.
when he turned 21, he met someone and he came out as an adult. And so I tried to talk to my peers within that church, and we just didn't even know how to have a conversation about it. We weren't
Yeah.
even used to saying the words homosexual out of our mouths. Um, we just didn't know how to have a conversation. So I do want to say there, I I like to believe that there is a majority of churches that really have the very best of intentions,
Hmm.
um, but they've believed, they've been duped. And we have to think about the history of the congregant, what they've been exposed to. Most of them are elderly or even my age who are causing problems, but it's because we're stuck in that place of fear and ignorance
Hmm.
with the very best of intentions. So I try to stay approachable. I don't want to throw the the congregation under the bus. Now,
Yeah.
doctrine, bad theology, we all know this.
Yeah.
We're preaching to the
Not
choir.
attacking people, definitely attacking the
Yeah.
dogma.
Yeah. So, but I wanted to say that until someone they love comes out, then we have to be approachable so we can help someone like
I
me.
hate that it has to happen to you to understand it.
Yes, yes.
I did that, but I say that kind of hypocritically because I used to drive my mom crazy. I was always one that had to learn for myself. But I was young and dumb. And now I got like, everybody teach me, please teach me. But I think it's just getting older. You kind of realize how dumb you are. But a perfect example is in the 1946 movie with Rocky's dad. I
Yes.
mean, Rocky's dad is so similar to my mom, and Rocky's dad believes with all of his heart that she is wrong and he is right, and he fears for her soul. So when we are so heavily indoctrinated and we believe that this is the truth of God, rather than seeing the human message in it and the human judgment,
Mhm.
we all get stuck, right? We get afraid. We break down. What if I'm wrong? What if they're wrong?
Mhm.
And again, it just boils down to, it doesn't matter, just love, just love. And
Yeah.
that's one thing I appreciated about Rocky's dad is he really did love her, and was able to get over
So,
that dogma related stuff like you were.
yeah, I do believe that, and I love that she kept that in the film. It would
Yeah.
have been really easy just to tell one side of the story, but there are two sides to every story. But even more, um, Rocky. did the research. She
Yeah.
searched the matter out, and that gave her the confidence and the peace that she needs to be able to go against this bad theology,
Yeah.
this doctrine. So, and I did hear something somewhere else said, there's no greater weapon we can use against someone than their faith.
Totally.
And that is,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah. And
If
I
you have,
mean,
yeah,
when
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
Well, if you have a community, that's why I always encourage not only allies to get educated. There's so much information out there now, but
Mhm.
even members of the community. I said, you search this matter out, you find out your history and your community, and that will give you peace and prepare you with an answer, even if it's to yourself. Otherwise, you're going to believe everything everybody,
Yeah.
throws
Yeah.
against you.
And that's not unique just to the LGBTQ community. I mean, they've done it to us. You're
Yes.
not supposed to be that mom. I'm not supposed to be that woman. So it's in a much milder form, but society's always telling you to be not who you are.
Right.
It's just a lot harder because we have governments behind the prejudice and all of that now,
Yeah.
which makes it really unsafe for them.
Yeah, I was in my late 40s when this came around, and I was taught never to question authority,
Yeah.
never talk about money, and never talk about sex. And that's how we got into this mess. And
Yeah.
it's not just for the LGBTQ plus community. Once I saw it there, I began to see it
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So you're right, the scales were taken off my eyes for sure.
Yeah. And again, it's supposed to be inclusive, it's supposed to be loving, but we humans screw it all up.
Yeah, that's what I couldn't reconcile. How are we
Yeah.
supposed to love and accept and, have all this goodness from God, and then all of a sudden it's wrong? Or,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and so many parents truly, unfortunately, disown their kids when they come out. I reference a story in my book about a woman placing an obituary when her child came out.
Yes, yes, I remember.
And I mean, to claim to be Christian and complain to be say that you're Christ loving or God loving, and then because of this indoctrination, this really bad dogma, you disown your child. I mean, my mom did that to me. Every time I got a boyfriend, I no longer had a mother because I was living in sin. So, it's that dogma creates so much division and hatred that we all need to speak up. And that's why you're so important to me.
Mhm.
So let's go, let's fast forward
Mhm.
to you are changing the world with your simple button and Jamie Lee gets a hold of you. How does that happen?
Well, as I became this accidental activist, were meeting couples who were falling in love and getting engaged and wanting to get married. So I met a beautiful couple, same-sex couple, and were friends for a long time. We still are. And they asked if, when the Marriage Equality Act passed, they asked if I would officiate their wedding. I'd never imagined myself doing that, but of course I wanted to because I love
Yeah.
these beautiful people. So, but through that, I started marrying more and more couples, and I started hearing about how their families refused to come to the wedding, um, not acknowledging the relationship, and so and seeing that devastation within these beautiful people when they just
Yeah.
finally get that message, it's devastating. And so I made a social media post with my hand in the air. I said, if your biological mom won't come to your same sex wedding, you call me. I'll be there. I'll bring the bubbles. I'll be your biggest fan. And that post went viral. And it caught the attention of Jamie Lee Curtis. She sent me a message and noticed it was trending at that time. And she said, that's just the purest form of unconditional love to me. What's this all about? So we had a conversation, and through that she found out about a book that I wrote about our journey from the church to the Pride Parade. And she bought it and shared it with her friends, and she acquired the rights. But between COVID and the writer's strike, I
Oh,
have
wow.
to,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to happen. We still have a contract, but honestly, the more time that goes by, so much has happened
Yeah.
that I think it may turn into something else.
Oh,
The
okay.
the book is great and good, but again, so much has happened in our
Yeah.
lives and the life of Free Mom Hugs. So, and we're working on a second book, so fingers crossed, but I don't know if it will look like what we originally planned. But trust me, you'll be the first to know.
Oh my God, my life is nothing like I planned.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I like to say that, thy will be done, O Lord, is my sometimes an hourly mantra. But living like this is kind of like a roller coaster, you don't know whether to raise your hands or scream, but it always works out for the best. So,
But, uh,
it's, go ahead.
Reverend Dr. Sherry, could you imagine yourself doing anything else?
No,
And
no.
neither could I.
No, at the last chapter of my book, I talk about how at 27, maybe 28, maybe 30, I decided that once my son was grown, I was going to sell everything I owned and do a dive charter off of Bimini in the Bahamas.
Nice.
Didn't think about living. Well, I was planning on living on the boat. Never even crossed my mind as to whether or not I could. I couldn't. I can't stay on a boat for more than a few hours. So while I had all of these dreams and hopes that I was, going to be scuba diving for the rest of my life, that kind of seems like meh now. This fills me up so much more than anything could have. It's truly beautiful. I love it. And I'm talking to people like you. So no, this is exactly where I want to be.
Thank you. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. And we have a lot of fun at Free Mom Hugs. It's not just me. We have, I think last time
Whole
we looked,
team.
we have 23,000 registered
Wow.
volunteers across the country. We need more. That just scratches the surface in most
Yeah.
areas, but we need more. So we're really looking forward to that this next year. And so it really is a movement. And I
Yeah.
may be the face of it right now, but really, there are thousands of moms just like me, allies
Yeah.
just like me, and even more vocal and more visible and having more conversations. I'm just happen to be the face of it now. And I'm happy, but
Yeah.
I know, you know, we know it's not me and not just me.
Well, it's your love. And
Yeah.
and you are the voice and the megaphone for that. I do want to back up just a little bit because as I am growing my platform and as I'm growing, sometimes I'll get a message where I'm like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they just messaged me." So you had to have felt that with Jamie Lee, right? You probably thought, "Oh my God, this is totally spam," right? Or
Yes.
did you not?
No, I thought I was being catfished. In fact, I saved a screenshot. I said, she gave me your number and I said, yeah, I'll call you just after I pray I'm not getting catfished. And so we hung up and I prayed I wasn't getting catfished and I called her and she answered and told me what she was doing. She put the screen on to, yes, it was crazy good. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so what do you guys have planned coming up? What's going on? What are you working on? Where can people get involved?
Well, I love that you asked that question because I wanted to tell you, we just had our very first Free Mom Hugs conference last September. Um, we had a conference committee. We had held it here in Oklahoma City, the birthplace of Free Mom Hugs, and we had keynote speakers. And we thought maybe we'd be lucky if we got 150 people there. But guess what? There were about 400 people there.
Wow.
We had a day pass. We had Chesson Buttigieg there.
Yeah, did you ever think when
And
you started going through this that you would be talking to Chastain? I mean,
no,
really?
and they reached out. His publicist reached out to us, found out about the conference, and reached out to us. So we changed our schedule around, but he was wonderful, and we had it fulfilled our educational aspect of our mission. Our mission is to equip the world to celebrate the LGBTQIA plus community through visibility, through education, and through conversation. And so we were able to fulfill that. We had members from the HRC, from Brian Bond with PFLAG, which he would make a great guest for you.
Yeah.
The transgender community was represented. I mean, our mayor spoke and welcomed our guest to the area. So it was really good, but it took a lot. A lot of things were on the back burner. So we're playing catch up right now, honestly.
Yeah.
We're about to have our second working board retreat is this coming weekend. And that's where we'll work out the finer details. But we haven't announced the next, I started to say tour, but we haven't announced the next conference yet, but we will shortly.
And you just got back from the Q conference, right?
Yes, Q Christian Fellowship. This is my 6th year to attend, and I love it every time. I will always go to the Q Christian Fellowship, and there's a couple of reasons why. The main one is because, to praise and worship with a community that's just been treated so poorly is just a moving experience. But the second part is they have a breakout session about side B. Now, if we want to talk about that for a minute, side A is a monogamous. Oh my gosh. Side A is where you have a partner, you're intimate, and everything's fine. Side B is that says that you can be gay, but you must be celibate. And some people are called to that. I'm not denying that. However, the problem with side B is that parents come there or members of the community come there and think, okay, there's my answer. I can be gay, but I need to be celibate. And it's dangerous. And so I will always be there advocating for side A. And that's part of the reason why I go.
I have a real problem with celibacy. I have a real problem with the church mandating sex through a marriage license, or any of the sexual sins, because we were truly created as sexual beings. We are some of the very few creatures on this planet that has sex for pleasure. And then I equate it to giving a 10-year-old boy the new PS2 or 5 or whatever number they're on now and saying, this is the best present ever, but don't you dare play with it.
Right.
It makes such a sadistic God. It tells us to deny who we are, to deny our humanity. I mean, we have to assume because Jesus was human that he had nocturnal emissions, that he woke up with a morning erection, that because he was human. And the church likes to strip all of that away and says that sex is the greatest sin, but sex is why we are all here.
Right.
So for anyone to say, deny who you are so we will be more comfortable, oh my claws come out. Talk about mama bears. It's like, don't ever ask anyone to be someone they're not so you can be comfortable. That is unacceptable to me.
Yeah, I take issue with that as well. I think people who feel like they're called to be celibate, they may just be asexual.
Your choice, you do you, boo. If you want to be celibate, that's fine. I'm totally there with you. But someone to mandate it on someone else, that's where I have a problem.
Yeah, it's dangerous. And so I just try to be there to represent mothers and to just really celebrate the community there.
Well, and as a mom, sex is so hard for your kids, right? I mean, it's not something that you want to focus on or think about.
I think that's why we had such a problem with even the word homosexual, because your mind gets caught up in the sexual part of it. And you're right. Now that I've come full circle here, I think I am, but sexuality is such a beautiful expression of
Mhm.
the human experience, the essence of
Exactly.
humanity. And I can see that now, even if I may, even with the leather community or polyamorous or things like that, it's just changed my whole perspective on sex.
Yeah.
And we've been duped, and I'm
Yeah.
afraid because of it.
Well, and again, to demonize, literally demonize who we are naturally, creates the bad things about that type of connection.
Right.
I see all over online people conflating sex and rape. And it's like, whoa, that is, those two should never be, sex is about connection. Rape is about power. They
Yeah.
don't have anything to do with
No.
each other. But being conditioned by the church, we also, add all of these other things to make them sexual deviants when again, they're just trying to be who they are.
Right. And intimacy is so important in that
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah. I mean, that's when you really say, oh God. That's when the time that it really matters. Yes, I mean, blame the patriarchy, blame the institution of it, but them demonizing sex as a whole has created way too many problems. It should be a beautiful thing between consenting adults, of course, an honest type of thing, but to just generally blanket and say someone who is this person is just naturally a sin is just gross. It's
Yeah.
just gross.
Dangerous.
Sex
Yeah.
isn't gross. That's gross.
Hmm.
So what do you have coming up for the next? What's your 5-year plan? Can I ask that?
We're
Is that too
working on it.
broad?
We're working on it. We just had our 5th-year anniversary as being an
Wow.
official nonprofit. We started under the umbrella of a nonprofit, and that was wonderful and great for them. But then we were able to branch out and become our own national nonprofit. And we just celebrated our 5 years.
Fantastic.
And, um, you know, we've got a lot of planning, um, talking about equipping our volunteers to really um, be visible, vocal, and educate where they are, and
Yeah.
just equip them with everything they need to be that presence in the lives of those who need it the most. We'll continue with our care packages. We'll have national programs as
What
well
are the
as
care packages?
care packages were inspired during COVID. We have a board member who is preparing a package for her son who lives out of the state. And it just gave us the idea like we could do care packages. So people will nominate those who might be feeling alone or alienated.
Aw.
And it's never the same thing. We just collect items that might just, you know, cheer someone up, and we send it out a care package.
I love that. Even more mom stuff. I love that.
Yeah, we send cards. Again, those we'll hear by word of mouth that like, look, we just had a beautiful young father of 5 who I've known them for several years now, and they just had top surgery.
Oh,
And we were
wow.
able to send cards and just encourage him and their family. So it's just about, early on, I always said nobody knows what Free Mom Hugs looks like, and that was true. But it's just like a mother seeing a need and fulfilling it. And if we can't, we'll know someone who can.
God, that is so beautiful.
Mhm.
I just love that.
I
Are
do
you
too.
teaming up with? I've seen the free dad hugs. Are you guys teaming up at all, or are you looking in separate directions
Um,
still?
no, we have dads. There's a couple of dad hug groups that were inspired by Free Mom Hugs,
Yeah, I think
and
it's
that's wonderful. Can you
Daniel
have free mom
Flint.
hugs, really? But no, we have free dad hugs shirts available on our website, and we welcome dads to represent Free Mom Hugs. We like to think of mom as an action verb.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Non gender, it's just that love.
Yes. Yes.
So what else is going on?
Uh, well, I said we're getting ready to have our board retreat. That'll be a 3.5 day retreat where we just lock ourselves in a room, uh, actually an Airbnb, and
Any place
um,
fun?
just work it. Well, our executive director is a huge college football fan of OU,
I'm sorry.
and well, and she always has, as long as I've known her. But she found an Airbnb that was owned by Barry Switzer.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, so she's so excited, and I'm excited for her. But don't ask me anything about football. I know
Yeah.
nothing.
Well, that's good. Everybody gets their own intentions in.
Yeah. We have a couple of new sponsors. Again, they haven't been announced yet, so I can't say. But we have we've acquired two new supporters, as well as keeping our alignment with Barefoot Wine and Bubbly, Vera Bradley, um, Paycom, Grant Thornton,
Wow.
Harley Davidson. Um, just we've been so fortunate, and I believe that's because people want to do something, and Free Mom Hugs offers a platform.
Yeah. I mean, just watching you grow over the last few
Yeah.
years has just been phenomenal. I mean, I remember the thing at Vera Wang going, oh my God, she got Vera Wang, and just seeing it grow. It's so encouraging and it's
Mhm.
so awesome because you kind of fell into this, but
Yeah.
you've embraced it and truly made a global movement out of it. I mean, I was like 6 months ago, I was on your site doing stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, they're overseas now. This is incredible. It's truly a global movement of love.
We do have representation, and um, the beautiful thing is, and I'm just started kind of thinking this way, Sherry, is that it's about the legacy of Free Mom Hugs. Like I said earlier, I'm maybe the face of it now, but there will always be moms hugging at
Yeah.
Pride festivals, always and
Yeah.
forever. We hope someday we don't need Free Mom Hugs in this way, but
That would be nice.
it is nice to think of the legacy um, that we're leaving.
Yeah, because it started off basically as you, but
Mhm.
like pride parades are overrun by them now. It's not even like an anomaly. You're walking through the pride parades and there's one. So
Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's so cool. It's like the hug felt across the world.
Right. I try to, there's some chapters that have three people doing the same thing every time, you know, and we
That's
only
okay.
require that our volunteers go to the Pride Festival, where California is probably one of our most actives, along with the Carolinas. Um, but sometimes you just got to spread out and just go
Hmm.
walking around. Otherwise, we got a bottleneck. We're real careful not to. We don't want to, crowd out the booths or the vendors next to us.
But I mean, what an amazing problem to have. There's too many people here to give hugs.
That's never happened.
I mean, I grew up in the Bay Area, so the parades and everything were just part of my childhood and, in San Francisco and stuff like that. The
Yeah,
bigotry was also always part of it. So anytime you can have a champion for love there and standing there, even though you're just giving hugs, you're still kind of a barrier of
mhm.
protection, offering that there so, fanatics and bigots and stuff like that just don't jump in everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, and we have learned through this course, do not engage.
No.
Do not engage. We used to, um and there are times for a conversation, but generally, as a rule, we're not trying to replace anybody's mother. We just wanna be that loving presence in the lives,
Exactly.
and then we don't engage. I call them scoffers, and,
It's a good
I
name.
I may have told the story before, just real quickly. I was at a baseball game. It was gay days, and not everybody got the memo, but there were young kids there with their pride flags and their trans flags, and it was beautiful. And we were there, just a few of us, with our Free Mom Hugs banner, offering hugs, and it was great. But not everybody got the memo that it was gay days. There were some people along the sideline, older people, and they were scoffing. They were like, mm, mad because we were there. Not we, the kids with the pride flags. And so there was a time when I would have gone over and tried to talk with them. But at
Mhm.
that moment, I felt like the Holy Spirit said, "You're not here for them. You're here for me."
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. At that moment, there was a time that I would have gone over and visited with them, tried to have a dialogue with them.
Yeah.
But I felt like I heard the Holy Spirit tell me, "You're not here for them. You're
Mm.
here for the kids." And ever since that moment, I don't try to have when someone's trying to have a conversation with you. So I wouldn't go and look at the people on the corner and try to have a conversation. They're there to scoff. But
That's a lesson I can learn.
yeah, it's no
Because I'm
good.
not real good at that. I mean, I have, granted, I wasn't sober, but I have gone up to the people at Mardi Gras having the signs and said, "What are you doing?" I have got the last women's march that I did. These two men were up there, trashing Roe v. Wade and saying all this stuff. And I got up on the box with them, like, "Don't believe them."
You are a rebel rouser.
Oh God, I need to tone it down. Like I said, this is a lesson that you
No,
can
you do you,
teach
baby.
me.
You do
But yeah,
you.
it's I've been fighting with my mouth my entire life, so that's probably something I should learn from you.
No, I love it. I love that. That's what makes you you.
Yeah.
So don't ever change.
Well, there we go. It's full circle to the society's been telling me to not to be this my whole life, and yeah,
Yeah.
it hasn't always worked out for me. I can
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah.
It has gotten me into a lot of trouble, but now I try and make it all, what it good trouble, just to
Yes,
make
good
it good
trouble.
trouble as opposed to anything that my ego would have done years ago.
Yes,
How is
yeah.
Mama Bears doing? Is the movie in wide distribution? What's going on with that?
Um, no, they have to make the film circuit first, the
Yeah.
independent film festivals first, and I think it might be available if you're a PBS subscriber,
Okay.
but it's kind of I don't want to say it's over yet. I think there might be some more activity with it. I don't unless they reach out to me. I don't necessarily. I haven't looked at it in a while, but I mean,
Everybody should try and
that,
find that. It's such a good movie.
mm.
Again, I'm a sap. We know this, but I sat next to Sarah and she's like, "Get it together, girlfriend."
Did I do that?
It was great, but I mean, and I use the example set forth in that movie so many times when I hear people say, "Oh, it's child abuse for any gender education or anything like that."
Mhm.
And Paula Stone Williams had a really good point to say, if it's happening when they're really young, chances are it's 100% true. She questions anything that happens as a teenager as part of a rebel. But Mama Bear's movies really puts everything into perspective when you see that there's a problem with the way that someone's born. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, there is nothing masculine about that child in any way, shape, or form. She is a full-on diva, and
Force.
it kind of intimidated me. I was like, okay, let me just stand in your presence.
Right? I did. Me too.
Hand on her hip. I mean, it's like, oh my God, she
Yeah.
knows who she is, and that's more than most of us could even say.
Yeah, me too. Me too. What I love about Kai and Kimberly, her mother,
Yeah.
Kimberly said it best at the table with their friend. But she said that Kai is not ashamed and she'll be public about being transgender. She said it differently and much better than that, but um, that's going to save so many lives. That she's vocal about being transgender and she's not ashamed of it. And I think that's
And
wonderful.
how empowering is that to be that
Yes.
age and know who you are? I mean, it's got to be intimidating to the patriarchy, to anybody who's against it, because I mean, she is a child, and you just want part of that magic and that confidence that she has.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
we took a picture together and she's posing, and I'm like, okay, let me fix
Right?
myself. And I freaked out about that picture for like a week. I'm like, I'm sure I looked horrible. I'm sure I looked horrible. Kai looked great. I looked horrible.
She would look good in a potato sack. Just her attitude. You know what? You could have her on the show.
Oh my
Wouldn't that be something?
Oh my God, I would love Kai on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Because I mean, I don't think, like you trying to convey Kimberly's words, I don't think that I have talked about it so many times and I've talked about her so many times, but to actually have her presence, I think that she would blow so many minds, you know, just like mine was.
Yeah, for sure. For
I
sure.
mean, to look at a child and go, I want to be her is just a rare, you know.
I just want this much of her energy and
Right.
sound.
And her confidence and her strength and power. I mean, Kimberly, to instill that in her makes her a boss bitch too, right? I
Absolutely.
mean,
All
just to
you
be able to empower her child that way
Mhm.
just warms my heart.
Yeah, and that's where it comes from, moms learn from other moms.
Yeah.
She was part of the Mama Bear group, so she had support, she found the resources, and even those that were advocating with her alongside her at the state capitol. So, it just and all of those people are around Kai, fighting for her, supporting her, celebrating her. I mean, it's the best case scenario
Yeah.
considering
Yeah.
what they're up against.
So after talking with Chastain, are you even thinking about getting political and starting to make some actions?
Well, yes. Here's the deal, though. Being a nonprofit, you can
Oh,
only
that's
go
right.
so far in your
That's right.
political arena. So we do have to be very careful, though we do work with the Human Rights Campaign. We have worked with them and gone on tours. We had them speak at our conference. We have um, training time set aside with our chapter leaders to prepare them. And so their words can count when they're being interviewed, which is often the case. And so they know, and to keep us in our lane as far as a
Yeah.
nonprofit, it's hard. It's really hard. We can talk and speak about laws that affect our families, absolutely, and we do. But it's just, it's real hard not to. But that's why, if you are wondering why we're not even more, that's why.
You know, when you said that, I got a flashback from the last time you were on because I was trying to figure out if I should start a nonprofit or an LLC. And when you said that, I'm like, oh, LLC, I'm not shutting up for anything.
Yes, LLC. I still feel the same way. I love the nonprofit. I don't think we could be doing what we're doing as a nonprofit.
Of course. Yeah.
However, you have a lot more freedom as an individual
Yeah.
to when you're on your own LLC.
Yeah.
You make the rules.
Again, anyone telling me to shut up, I kind of go, so if that was government doing it, I'd have a huge problem.
Wow.
Right? Don't shut me up. I've been saying that since I was 2.
No, you're going to be great. Let me know when you do that.
Well, the LLC is established.
Oh,
yeah.
Under the podcast, and you got
it's actually called Social Butterfly Media.
Oh,
right?
No.
So yeah, my mom always called me a social butterfly. A girlfriend of mine recently went, oh, that means you're a whore. I'm like, what? They're like, that's not what my mom means. Yeah, no, that's not what it means.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, so the LLC is set up, everything's moving forward. But yeah, thank you so much for that guidance. Yeah,
I do what I can.
Yeah.
No, that's great. That is great news. You're talking about being a social butterfly, the whore that you are. And but my mother, she called me Goose. And I always thought it's because I have this beautiful long neck. Graceful, right?
Yeah.
But it turned out it's because I kept sticking my nose in everyone's business.
love that you got the goodness from it, though. It's like, oh, it must be because of my neck.
Yep. Well, that's what kind of whore I am.
Yeah. Whores unite. And I just saw a bump in our numbers. So if they're signing on with that, it's like, oh dear, what's the conversation going to? So how's Parker? How is he doing?
Parker's good. He is working on the plaza, and we, like I said, we see each other usually every week, every Sunday night. I have 2 sons and a daughter-in-law. They'll come over for dinner, and Parker and I can't say that everything's honky dory, because it's not.
Oh my God, he's your kid. That's never lasts for long, right?
Yeah, I know he's proud of Free Mom Hugs. I know he sees the fruit in that. But I mean, we have a lot of things we still need to work out. But fortunately, we're able to talk about it. We have therapy. I do believe in a good counsel. And but he's wonderful. He really is wonderful. He's smart and just very, how do I say this? He's just got a clear vision, and he's dedicated to that. And I love him so much. And he's an artist, a singer-songwriter. I mean, just an amazing kid. They both are.
I met my cousin for dinner a couple years ago, and I said, how are the kids? And she goes, this is the most thankless job I've ever had. And I was like, yes, I'm not the only one. Yes.
Yeah.
Parenting is hard.
Yeah. I saw a meme a while back, and it said, your mom, keep in mind that your mom, this is her first time at life too. And I thought, that's right. I've never been a founder or
or a mom or an older woman. I mean, we're all just trying to get by and do the best we can, right?
We all are doing the best we can.
Yeah. And sometimes that's not okay for our kids, right? Sometimes they don't understand it. Sometimes they don't even see our humanity in the whole thing.
Yeah.
That goes, both ways. Some parents don't see the humanity in their children. True love works it out. True love is that conversation and getting through all of those things together.
Yeah.
And that's success right there.
Yeah. When I was a younger mother, I thought you got to pick your battles. If they want to color their hair, that'll grow out. You want to change your room color, that'll, fine. But you had to pick your battles. Well, it's the same when your kids are adults.
Yeah.
It's the same. So anyway.
Well, and even more so because there's no control at that point. There's, if you were a controlling mother in any way, shape, or form, that's gone. Once the adulthood kicks in, and it's a whole new level of fear, right? I mean, there's a fear when they're young, there's a fear when they become teenagers. And then when they're an adult, it's like, oh, wow, there's this whole nother level of personal responsibility that they can either be aware of or not.
Yeah.
And what that support is.
Yeah. But man, when things are good, when we're both in a good headspace, we have the most fun. And he's witty and charming and just wonderful to be around. And
that's great. My boss said when I was pregnant, just make sure you like them.
Yeah.
Like, what? How could I? There were times I didn't like him. But, the love never goes away.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, anything more to announce or guide people through? We are almost at the top of the hour already.
Well, the question I get the most, and I'll have to just repeat it here because I get asked it the most, is that, moms will come up to me and ask, what do I do? I'm just hearing the words, Mom, I'm gay, Mom, I'm trans, bi, wherever they are on that spectrum. And what do I do? And I said, well, you learn to love them, celebrate them, or you're going to live without them. whether
Yeah.
they alienate themselves from you or worse.
Yeah.
So that's strong advice, hard to hear, but true. I know for a fact. And the second thing is um, just celebrate people. Pretend like we all have a yellow sticky note on our heads that say, celebrate me.
I love that.
Do that.
Yeah, because
Do that.
celebration is love.
Yeah. And when you celebrate people, other people see that and they learn and they want to be a part of that too. It's true.
Yeah, attitudes are contagious.
Yes.
Totally.
Yep.
Both good
And
and bad.
yeah. And then you got to go to freemomhugs.org. You can get signed up for your state chapter in your city and state. You can find out what's going on and show up. You can find merchandise. Look at this shirt. It's kind of faded. I wear it all the time. I need to
I love
renew
it.
it. I love it too. I get a lot of compliments on it. But join the mission, join the movement. I guarantee you will have the time of your life, truly.
It's such a great group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love seeing all of the little sprouts at Wild Goose, and being in California, I'll see, they're like, there's
Oh,
Sarah's stuff.
you're going to Wild Goose this
Yeah.
year? Are you
Yeah.
presenting?
Am I presenting? Yes.
Yes. I thought you were. Yeah, we talked about that last, but they're working on getting a mama bear den. I don't know if it's going to come through this year, but
Well, Robin kicks ass. She'll get it done.
yes, I love Robin. That's another one who I wish I just had an ounce of her energy, and she's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I know.
Little
Yeah,
powerhouse.
Robin's another boss bitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Her ears are ringing, I'm sure.
I know. She's like, who's talking about me?
Yeah. Thank you so much. You got to come out to Oklahoma when the weather's nicer, and we'll walk the plaza and we'll
Okay.
solve all the world's problems.
Yes. And just give hugs to everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
And
So
those of
any
you who
final,
tuned
I'm
in,
sorry, go ahead. What's that?
those of you who took the time to tune in, I can't see, but I'm so glad you did. And I think this is an excellent platform, and I love that you're getting plugged into it.
Thank you so much. Any final words? And I mean, I have free mom hugs up there.
Good.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to send you backstage and close the show. I will see you in a minute.
Okay. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Another fantastic guest. I absolutely love Sara. I'm sorry if I was like total fangirling through the entire show, if you couldn't tell how much I love her and what she's doing. There's just so much power in that, and there's so much power in love, and that is the way we will change the world. Have a wonderful week. I will see you next week. And as always, if you like the show, share it. It's on YouTube, all that good stuff. Share it with your friends. Have a wonderful week. And as always, walk in love. Mwah! See you next week.